There are some places that sit quietly in the Mediterranean, overshadowed by their more famous neighbours, yet they carry a beauty and richness that rivals them all. One of those places is Cyprus. Known for its sapphire seas, rugged mountains, ancient ruins, and warm hospitality, Cyprus is the kind of island that feels both like a tropical escape and a step back in time. Welcome back to Travelling Heavens, where today we're exploring Cyprus, a hidden gem of the Mediterranean that might just be Greece's secret rival. What makes Cyprus so unique is the way it manages to bring together so many different worlds on one island. On the coast, you'll find stretches of golden sand and coves where the sea glimmers in shades of turquoise and emerald. Inland, rugged mountain ranges rise high, their slopes cloaked in pine forests and wildflowers. Between them, fertile valleys open up into citrus groves, vineyards, and sleepy villages where life moves to a rhythm as old as the land itself. And layered across it all are traces of the past. Greek temples, Roman villas, Byzantine monasteries, and medieval castles, each one telling a story against the backdrop of the island's raw beauty. The coastline is the first thing many travellers fall in love with. Cyprus has over 600 kilometres of shoreline, and it's not just the sheer quantity, but the variety that makes it so special. On the southeastern coast, Ayia Napa and Protaras are the poster children of Cypriot beaches. This is where the sea seems to take on an almost tropical brilliance, a blue so pure and so clear that it doesn't look real until you're floating in it. Nissi Beach, with its famous sandbar, lets you walk out into the sea as though the Mediterranean itself has slowed down to welcome you. It's lively and festive, with music drifting from beach clubs. But drive just a little further and you'll find the calm serenity of Fig Tree Bay. Here, the water is glass-like, the sand soft and golden, and the atmosphere so peaceful that time seems to melt away. Travel west and the mood of the coastline changes. Around Paphos and Coral Bay, the beaches are framed by rugged cliffs and sea caves carved by centuries of waves. The sunsets here are the kind you never forget. The horizon glowing in a fiery palette of orange, pink, and violet as the sea swallows the sun. Yet even these dramatic beaches feel tame compared to the wilderness of the Akamas Peninsula. This corner of Cyprus is nature at its rawest. Imagine hiking through fragrant valleys filled with juniper and myrtle, where butterflies flit through the air and the sea glimmers in the distance. Kayak along the jagged coastline, and you'll discover hidden caves where the water shines emerald in the half-light. Or take a boat out to the Blue Lagoon, a bay so crystalline that boats seem to float on air, their shadows clearly visible on the seabed below. Here, swimming feels like slipping into liquid crystal. But the soul of Cyprus isn't only along the shore. At the island's heart lie the Troodos Mountains, rising like a green spine across the landscape. Cool breezes sweep through pine forests, waterfalls tumble down rocky cliffs, and trails wind their way up to viewpoints where you can see both the north and south coasts stretching away into the horizon. Walking the Caledonia Waterfalls trail, you follow the sound of rushing water under a canopy of trees until you find a cascade tumbling down mossy rock into pools where the air feels fresh and cool even in midsummer. In spring, the valleys here explode in colour as wild orchids, poppies, and anemones carpet the hillsides. In autumn, the forests turn golden, a softer, quieter beauty that feels worlds apart from the coast. And in winter, snow settles on the peaks of Mount Olympus, where you can ski in the morning and drive back down to the sea for a swim by afternoon. Few islands on Earth can offer that kind of contrast. The villages of the Troodos add another layer of charm to the natural beauty. Omodos is perhaps the most famous, with its cobbled streets and vine-shaded tavernas, where the air smells of freshly baked bread and oak barrels of local wine. Sit here with a plate of halloumi, olives, and fresh figs, and it's easy to forget the modern world exists at all. Lefkara is another jewel, known for its handmade lace, a tradition carried on for centuries. Walking its narrow lanes, you'll see women sitting in doorways, weaving lace patterns by hand, just as their ancestors once did. In Kakopetria, houses rise above the river, their wooden balconies hanging over the water, while the sound of rushing streams echoes through the airs. These are places where nature and tradition intertwine seamlessly, each village framed by forests, mountains, and endless blue skies. Nature here also carries a spiritual weight. Scattered through the mountains are Byzantine monasteries and chapels, many of them UNESCO listed for their frescoes. Troodos Monastery, the grandest of them all, is set high in the Troodos, its walls glittering with gold mosaics and colourful paintings. When mist rolls through the peaks, the monastery appears as if suspended between heaven and earth. Smaller chapels, hidden among trees, glow inside with frescoes painted centuries ago, their colours still vibrant in the flicker of candlelight. These places remind you that in Cyprus, natural beauty is not just scenery, it's sacred. And then there's the history, which in Cyprus is never far from the natural world. In Paphos, the Roman mosaics shimmer beneath the open sky, surrounded by wildflowers and overlooking the sea. At Kourion, the amphitheater stands dramatically on a cliff, the horizon stretching endlessly behind it. To sit here, with the wind rushing past, is to feel the weight of centuries in a place where history and landscape are inseparable. The tombs of the kings, carved into the rock of the Paphos coast, are monumental yet quiet, their silence broken only by the sound of waves striking the cliffs. Even castles like Colossi or the Venetian walls of Nicosia are framed by cypress trees, citrus groves, and that ever-present Mediterranean light. This is the magic of Cyprus. It's not just an island of beaches or ruins or villages, but an island where nature and culture weave into one. The turquoise glow of the sea, the green depths of the mountains, the golden stone of ancient ruins, and the warm hospitality of its people all combine to create something more than the sum of its parts. One moment you're swimming in a lagoon so clear it looks unreal. The next you're walking through a 1,000-year-old chapel. And by evening, you're sipping wine in a mountain square as the sun dips behind the peaks. Cyprus is not just a place you see, it's a place you feel in every sense. The salt spray of the Mediterranean on your skin, the cool mountain air in your lungs, the taste of ripe fruit straight from the land, and the silence of ancient stones standing against the sky. It is an island of contrasts, yes, but even more than that, it is an island of harmony, where all those contrasts come together to create a rhythm that is timeless and unforgettable. And this is only the beginning. Because while its natural beauty and deep history are enough to inspire any traveller, Cyprus also offers some of the most unforgettable places to stay. From luxurious seaside resorts that redefine indulgence to family-run village guesthouses that make you feel part of the island's heart. On the luxury side, Cyprus is truly in a league of its own. One of the crown jewels is Cap St. George Hotel and Resort, tucked away on the unspoiled western coast near Paphos. It's the kind of place that feels more like a private world than just a resort. With its sleek, modern design, floor-to-ceiling windows that frame the endless horizon, and a private stretch of rocky coastline, it offers both seclusion and sophistication. Picture waking up in a villa with its own infinity pool, the sun rising over the sea, and the sound of waves mingling with birdsong from the surrounding cliffs. At Cap St. George, luxury feels intimate, less about opulence for show, and more about creating a sense of calm and exclusivity. A little further north, the Ayia Napa Hotel has long been Cyprus's most iconic retreat, perched dramatically on the Akamas Peninsula. Its design is inspired by a traditional whitewashed village, with winding paths that lead through fragrant gardens down to a secluded beach. Here, infinity pools seem to spill into the Mediterranean, while the spa draws on Greco-Roman traditions to create a wellness experience rooted in Cyprus's history. The atmosphere is serene and almost mythic, the kind of place where you can imagine gods and goddesses choosing to holiday. And then there's the Elysium in Paphos, which leans heavily into the island's Byzantine past. The architecture feels like a castle by the sea, with domes, mosaics, and lush courtyards that make you feel like you've stepped into another era. It combines grandeur with comfort, giving guests the sense of staying in a palace where history and hospitality merge. But luxury in Cyprus isn't only about the scale of resorts. It's also found in the details. like dining on fresh Mediterranean seafood as the sun sets over the sea, or sipping Cypriot wine in a candlelit garden under the stars. These resorts aren't just places to sleep, they are experiences in themselves, each one a curated journey into Cyprus's landscape and culture. Still, what makes Cyprus truly special is that beyond the five-star glamour, you'll also find accommodations that let you connect to the island in a much more personal way. In the Troodos Mountains and small villages, family-run guest houses offer a window into the Cyprus of old. Many of these are centuries-old stone houses that have been carefully restored thick stone walls, wooden beams, and courtyards overflowing with vines and potted flowers. Staying here is less about amenities and more about atmosphere. You might be welcomed with homemade zivania, a traditional Cypriot spirit, wake up to the smell of fresh bread baking in the wood oven, and sit down to a breakfast of local cheeses, olives, and figs grown in your host's garden. Getting to Cyprus is easier than its hidden gem reputation might suggest. The island has two main international airports, Larnaca on the east, which connects to most of Europe, and Paphos on the west, which is especially convenient if you're heading straight to the resorts and archaeological treasures in that region. Once you've landed, the best way to see the island is by car. Cyprus is compact but diverse, and driving lets you discover it at your own pace. One moment cruising along the coastline, the next winding up into cool, pine-covered mountains. In the end, Cyprus is one of those rare destinations that gives you every version of the Mediterranean in a single trip. Pristine beaches, dramatic mountain scenery, history at every turn, luxury resorts that rival the Riviera, and small village stays that feel like stepping back in time. It's Greece's secret rival, not because it tries to imitate it, but because it offers its own rich and layered identity, a place where East meets West, where ancient and modern coexist, and where every traveller can find their paradise. If you've been searching for a Mediterranean escape that blends luxury with authenticity, Cyprus may just be the hidden gem you didn't know you were looking for.